Hello. Welcome to Word Crawl. I'm going to explain Word Crawl and Festival of Words for the people that haven't heard of it before. But first, I'll introduce the host, our MC.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. Hello. My name is Bushaib Gadir. I am a professor at Tulane University. I'm a professor of Arabic language and literature and culture, and the director of the Arabic Studies program at Tulane University. And my department is in the French and Italian department. So I'm looking forward to hear your poems and vos chansons.
Ça va? Ça va. And so Bushaib will introduce each of the speakers. But before we start with that, I'll let you know Word Crawl is a fundraiser. Every person who gets up here raised $100 if they're an adult, $50 if they're a student. And that money goes to fund an event called Festival of Words, which is a writer's workshop, which is free, but we have to pay to bring the authors in. And it happens in Grand Coteau the first weekend in November. So if you want to come up to Grand Coteau in November and take some really incredible classes, they're all free to you guys. So please do come join us. We'll give you some information as you leave so you can follow that and join us in November if you like. What else did you want me to tell them?
Yeah, if you want to participate for next year at the Crawl Word Festival, this is an opportunity to go and sign your name over there. You will be able to share your poems, your singing with us here. So we encourage you to do that. We have some merchandise there if you want to purchase them. This is all to help to bring some renowned writers from the United States. They do workshop with students and they share with you their novels and their poems. So we should start.
Yeah. So if you like what you see and you want to join us, sign up for next year. And I'm Peg Ramir. I'm the troubleshooter or troublemaker. So if you need anything, let me know. I'll be in the back. And
yeah, we'll explain the process. Yes.
No, I was waving to my cousin.
Oh, okay.
That's Andrew. That's Patrice's cousin. Okay, here you go. That's yours.
So you will have only 10 minutes, no more than that. 10 minutes. You read your poem, you read your chanson, and we move to the next one. Okay. So the first one is will be.
I'm sorry, who's the timer?
Yeah. Okay. So the first is Andrew Inspruch. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Microphone.
Oh, am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
Einsbruck.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay. Andrew is the author of the humorous fantasy series, The Western Lens, and All That Really Matters, which includes 3 books in the series and 2 prequels. He's the co-founder of the non-profit charity, the Deep Peace Trust, which fosters deep peace for all species and runs one of Australia's largest farm animal sanctuaries. If you ask, he will deny he ever programmed the COBOL for a bank.
All right, are we on?
Yes.
All right, so so this is a chapter from my book, The Wombanditos, which is as you just heard, is a prequel to my series, The Western Lands and All That Really Matters. And just to set this up, we're sort of in the middle of the book. The chapter is called Someone Should Sit in a Corner. And the setup is that our heroine, Princess Eloise Hydra Gumball III, has been kidnapped by a gang of wombats who are led by Master Shovelhovel. And her best friend, whose name is Jerome Abernathy the Chipmunk, and he's a chipmunk, has come to try to rescue her. Eloise dreamed she heard Jerome. He sounded far away. In a small, timorous voice, he politely asked the air, "El, are you in there?" Wombats rose at once, drawing their swords. "Who goes there?" shouted Shovelhovel, squinting toward the entrance. "Who dares enter the burrow of the Wombanditos, the fiercest gang with bad eyesight in all the realms?" "Hee-yah! Hee-yah!" the other wombat screamed in response. It wasn't a dream. It was Jerome. Thanks a lot, Jerome had found her. She let out a huge breath and trailed her eyes toward the heavens. Then she looked toward his voice, trying to locate him. "I'm here," she called. "Shush you," said Roy Lee. And before she knew it, she was wearing the gag again. Jerome eased himself further into the burrow, ignoring the drawn weapons, all polite manners and good grace. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jerome. I believe you've kidnapped my friend Eloise." "Eloise?" asked Shovel Hubble. "Like our queen?" He squinted in Eloise's direction. "In violation of the can't name your child after the queen edict? Boy, you're lucky she doesn't know you have her name. She'd rip off your arms and legs and swap them if she found out." Eloise shrugged. She couldn't say anything. "No one in their right mind defies the ban on naming your sprogs after the queen and king." He turned back to Jerome. "Very brave of you to come in here like that. Now, turn around and go out. Any parlaying you want to do will be done outside." Jerome ignored him. "Did you say your name was the Wombanditos?" "That we did," said Shovel Hubble. "We're the Wombanditos, the fiercest gang with bad eyesight in all the realms." "Hee-yah! Hee-yah!" screamed the others again. "With all due respect, and I understand how hard it is to come up with good names, that one is terrible. Horrific. Wombanditos? Come on. Really? What? No, it's a fantastic name," insisted Shovel Hubble. "It'd be fierce like we are. It'd be setting hearts trembling and knees a-knocking. Wombanditos. Hee-yah! Hee-yah!" Jerome ignored that, too. "I mean, I can see what you were going for. You're wombats, you're bandits, so you're looking for a wordplay that captures both, hence the portmanteau. I get it." "That's right," said Shovel Hubble. "We are the Wombanditos, the fiercest gang with bad eyesight in all the realms. Hee-yah! Hee-yah!" cried everyone yet again. I get it," said Jerome, intentionally looking bored. "But you don't. Whoever let that one get through the approval process needs to go and sit in the corner for a while." Shovel Hubble puffed out his chest, belligerent. "Why say you that?" 100 reasons. No, 1,000 reasons. But let's start with one. Look at it when it's written. Jerome scratched out the name with a stick, forming huge letters so they'd be legible in the burrow's dim green light, even to squinty-eyed wombats. The wombats lowered their sword and crowded around for a look. "What's at the beginning?" "WOMBA, ventured a small voice. It was Roy Lee. "That'd be the start of wombats. But what else is there?" No one said anything. The silence stretched. "Nothing?" asked Jerome. Slowly he covered the A with his foot. "WOMB, Womb," said Roy Lee, pronouncing the word with a heartbeat. "That'd still be the start of wombat. That no change anything." "Or it could be," led Jerome. "Rhymes with room." "Womb?" said Roy Lee, uncertain. With that, the room erupted. They had clearly never seen the womb lurking in wombat, but now they had, and they could never unsee it. "Ah, no!" cried Shovel Hubble, his anguish louder than the others. "Womb banditos! It's like we're stealing bits from ladies." He clunked his head a few times on the burrow wall. "Not only is that disgusting, but we be bleeding marsupials. We got no use for wombs. Our women folk has got pouches. What would we be stealing bits from ladies for?" There was general agreement in the room. "I agree. It's a disaster," said Jerome. "The name is a complete carriage wreck, but what?" Shovel Hubble looked like someone had spat in his soy milk. "We've spent years building up a reputation with that name. Now it'd be ruin. Ruin! We must be the laughingstock of all the other gangs." "Yeah, look, sorry about that," said Jerome. "But if there's any way to get my friend back, we have a naming business we have to get back to. Would it be possible?" "What?" Shovel Hubble grabbed in front of Jerome's tunic and hauled him off the ground. "What did ye say?" "I said that I was hoping to try to get my friend back from you good people," said Jerome. "She and I run a naming business. She's the creative genius. I need her if we're going to keep the smart and snappy names coming." "You have a naming business?" asked Roy Lee. "What is your name? Anything famous?" Jerome looked as embarrassed as he could while dangling by his front tunic. "Oh, I couldn't possibly say. That's all commercial incompetence. I mean, I couldn't very well go around saying, brunchberries? They used to be called slug fruit. A breach of confidentiality like that would be terrible for business. Not that there's anything wrong with slugs, of course. Shovel Hovel shook Jerome a little. You be telling me you named brunchberries. They always be named that. Jerome shook his head slowly, pointed an index claw at Eloise. She named them. Absolute genius she is. Shovel Hovel looked around at Eloise again, and she gave a self-deprecating nod, indicating Jerome was right. Shovel Hovel put Jerome down, small shove. What else is your business name? Jerome feigned chagrin like he was divulging naughty secrets. Have you heard of Lurid Eddie? The carriage maker, of course, said Shovel. He used to be called Bland Bob. Couldn't sell a carriage in a month, but then he had a name change it. Boom. Now he can't make them fast enough. That'd be amazing, said Roy Lee. What else? Ever heard of potato soup? Asked Jerome. It'd be my favorite, said Roy Lee. Until she got a hold of it, they called it bulbous dirt vegetable gruel. Ah, yuck, said Roy Lee, genuinely disgusted. I'd never eat bulbous dirt vegetable gruel. I know, right? Jerome. But look, I digress. I really need to get my creative savant back. So if you lovely womb banditos can just stop, yelled Shovel Hovel. Don't be saying our name that way. Sorry, I'm not the one who came up with it. The burro buzzed with satisfaction. Roy Lee raised his paw to speak. Master Jerome, do you think you could be doing a new name for us? Well, it is what we do, but hey, you're my friend, and I'm really only here to try to talk ransom. How much do you reckon you'll get for it? For the likes of her, said Shovel Hovel, I reckon 27 pounds, maybe 28. Come on, really, said Jerome in disbelief. You really think you'll get more than 15 coins for a thin, not particularly attractive nobody like her? You just said she was a creative genius, said Shovel Hovel. Well, there is that, I guess. But you didn't know. People you're trying to get a ransom coin may not either. A bit iffy, the valuing people think. Maybe you'll get 20 or 21. Roy Lee tugged at Jerome's sleeve again. How much do a new name cost, Master Jerome? No, that depends. We got 95 points from the Brunchberry Guild back when they were still the Slug Fruit Guild. And if memory serves, we got 123 points from Bland Bob. So, somewhere in that range, but with overheads and expenses, the economic ups and downs. No way, said Roy Lee, impressed. That'd be a massive pile of coin. Jerome gave another nod and pointed at Eloise again, who nodded like she was admitting a closely held truth. Go somewhere like Bragg, especially anywhere within a peach pit's grove, Queen and Castle, and you'll pay 250 coins for a halfway decent name, and as much as 500 for a really, really good one. Amazing, said Roy Lee. I had no idea names be that expensive. We'll swap, said Shovel Hovel Jerome. Her for a new name. Are you out of your womb-bat mind? Jerome sent right down to his stocking. Our names are worth much, much more than your ransom. That's not a fair deal at all. He turned and started walking toward the burrow entrance. I won't be insulted like keep her if that's what you want. Stop, said Shovel Hovel. Jerome did, slowly turning around. What, you going to insult me again? And in front of my friend? You really should be ashamed of yourself. Sorry, matey. Sorry, said Shovel Hovel. I meant no offense, but we be needing a name, and you be needing your friend, so it seemed, logical, that's all. Jerome walked back to him. I guess there might be some logic in it. But you're asking me to lower our price by 60 to 95 coins. That's almost 4 times the value of your ransom. 4. He held up 4 claws in it. You expect me to accept a deal like that? That's an insult to my mother. It's a lot, bless her.
Thank you.
Sat on the stone bench, folded his arms, and waited.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry.
Sorry?
Thank you very much. You exceeded the 10 minutes we have. But we thank you so much. Applaud for
Thank you so much for having me. And if any of you took a picture of the URL that I held up earlier, you can get a copy of the book for free. So pass it around to your friends.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you. The second one who is going to read is AWP Jirab. I don't have the biography. Oh, okay.
Michelle, this is right? This list? Okay. So there are a bunch of students, and you want to read all of them, or they can read them themselves,
Yeah,
however you want.
they can read them. I'm not sure if they can read their...
Okay.
Elizabeth, what is it, Elizabeth?
Sonia?
Sonia?
Elizabeth? That's me.
Oh, okay, come on, please.
So when you guys come up, if you want to, your bios are written on here if you want to tell everybody your bio.
Yeah. Just briefly, and you start your poem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is me. I'm Elizabeth Sonia. I'm a 10th grade English teacher and dual enrollment. Hi. I'm a 10th grade English teacher and dual enrollment teacher at Northside High School. The poem I'll be reading is from an exercise that we did earlier today that's based on the novel The Things They Carried, in which the narrator describes a moment where he's making the decision to either run away to Canada or accept the fact that he's been drafted into the Vietnam War. And mine is a situation where I had to make a decision about whether or not I would move abroad or stay home here in Louisiana. So here's the poem. When I was 36, I left my job with nowhere to go and anywhere to go. I looked on the message boards and found a job with an attractive pay scale at a girls' school, a rich girls' school in the capital, Riyadh. I applied, interviewed, and was offered a job, an adventure, opportunity, money finally, a way out of the adjunct grind. And behind me, there in the living room, loomed my mother, of course, with all her worries, the boys, the brother who had been to war and knew the word Haji, but not that it meant to be a pilgrim, Waleed, my Kuwaiti friend from 20 years ago with such a sweetheart, the boy I'd dated secretly who'd lived there now in the capital. He'd know that I was there but wouldn't be allowed to see me. Josephine, Napoleon's wife, supreme diplomat, reminding me to keep my mouth shut so tight as if I were hiding rotten teeth. To accept would be to abscond, my grandmothers rolling in their graves, Scheherazade talking for 1001 nights, the babies I may or may not have one day with a dual citizenship or in secret, the psychic lady in Arnoville who saw camels with me, who was relieved when she heard it hadn't worked out. They watched me sit there as my eyes ached with tears as I ended the call, having made the call on my own. No husband, no spawn, only beholden to myself and the future me that might be me. The voice of Louis Michaud on the radio making me preemptively homesick. The god Ganesh on the tapestry, the only one who was really there. Little did I know he was the one really deciding that I wouldn't be going anywhere. The god of obstacles holding my visa behind his back, leading me toward my actual destination just down the road. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. The following student, what is? Oh, she has the list. Okay, come on, please. Yeah, hold this close. Yeah.
Andrea Brew. Good afternoon, not evening yet. We were writing all morning, well, not all morning, a few hours before we came here. And my poem comes from an activity where we had to make a list of things that we loved and things that we hated. I had a long list of things I hated. But from there, we had to pick 4 words and use those words to create a poem. So here it is. Oh, I forgot to introduce me. I'll do that last. Please excuse my vibe. It is quiet, but invincible. My energy is busy and unstifled by negativity. My spirit currently being governed by happy. And that's the end. And I am the high school librarian at Northside High.
Hello, I'm Mr. Sigh, the Gear Up guy from Lafayette High. Gear Up, in a partnership with the Acadiana Writing Project, supports writing in our schools through writing clubs, events for students, and lots of other things. Don't you love the first real day of fall? To awaken without the sheets sticking to you? To walk outside and not feel hot, damp, oppressed, to finally want a blanket for bed. Moth-fried eggplants in the summer, picked in the early morning, wet with dew, peeled with a wood-handled knife, blade worn to a wisp from sharpening, sliced thin, dipped in egg and milk, then flour, fried outside because shad's too hot to be frying in the kitchen in July, served with summer tomatoes dripping juice, tender baby limas, and love.
Thank you very much. Is there another students?
Yeah, I think you guys have about 6 people. Who has that? Here it is.
Kaitlyn, I think.
Yep, yeah.
Kaitlyn, thank you. Introduce yourself, say your name, introduce yourself. And hold that here.
Hi, I'm Kaitlyn. I go to Lafayette High and I'm a junior. I'll be reading a poem that was inspired by the activities that we've done today. I bear the good news of a happy, cheerful pioneer, a pioneer as wise as your great-great-grandfather, with the lonesome tides and the lonely rides. Still, I will only show you my best side, the side of me that will never change, that will last forever and won't fade away.
Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful poem. Thank you. The second one, Katie? Katie? Introduce yourself, your first name, last name. And
Okay. Hey, I'm Katie Wallace. I teach social studies at Northside, and I'm really uncomfortable, so. All right. The yelling stopped. Silence hangs heavy in between us. You stand there, your face illuminated by the lamp, the soft light emblazoned across your face. In your eyes, I see rage and fear. You almost look feral. You step forward and plead with me. For once in your life, just swallow your damn pride. The words sound like they're ripped from your throat. I silently meet your eyes. How can I explain? Why don't you just understand? My pride, my stubbornness, these are legacies from my mother. It's as much a part of me as the color of my eyes or the shape of my lips. To swallow it would be to lose a part of myself.
thank you very much. Thank you. Now I'm calling Laura. Thank you. Your first name, last name.
Yes. Hi, I'm Laura Trotman. I'm a teacher at Acadiana High School, and I've been forcing students to write for about 11 years now. I'm going to read a poem I didn't know I was going to read until 12:45 today. So there's a poem I've been meaning to write about loose leaf paper, so I just hurried up and created it out of I modeled it after Pablo Neruda's Ode to a Large Tuna in a Market, so I'm borrowing from him. Here among the pens and pencils, this enemy from the supplies table, an opponent that threatens now stacked in front of me waiting. Surrounded by the tools of the written word, these markers, cups of colored pencils, only you can kill confidence, slay motivation, that rare learning currency which can only be exchanged in small pockets of time. Only you, gladiator glistening in the arena, awaiting of a match of ideas, reluctantly waiting in the tunnel. Only you, a sniper scoping out thoughts that are afraid to go outside in the streets of writing. Only you, an innocent blank page worth less than a penny, can cause fear worth millions.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Tyrell? Alexander? Thank you. Your first name, last name.
Hi, I'm Alexander Fitzgerald. I teach English at Karen Crowe High School, and this is actually my first year teaching ever. Mine is also the decisions exercise that we did. Mine is the decision to become a teacher. My feet throbbed, back ached. I can't get the stench of grease out of my shirt or the flour out of my pants. I find my way past the fruit flies buzzing in the apartment, paint chipping off of the wall, and slam my door, closing off the stench of cat crap that my roommate has yet to empty. And as I plop onto my grease-stained bed, tears trickle down my cheek. It's the same thing every day, I sob. I won't make it out of this. I'm stuck in this forever. But as the water clouds my eyes, I can see the faces of my mother and grandfather sitting behind their teachers' desks. Then it dissipates. Quietly, I hear the whisper of doubt, get out while you can. And quickly, it fades away. There's Erin Gruel. She had her tough days, but also those she loved. And there's the shouts of Professor Keating's students as they stand upon their desks, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." And there's Mr. Whitman. He whispers with a smile that the powerful play goes on, and you too may contribute a verse. Yes, Mr. Whitman, I will make my verse one of a teacher who loves. I will make sure my kids never feel as lost as I have. Yes, I will become a teacher, and my verse will be one that teaches them to never give up.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now I will introduce you to John Warner Smith, who is applaud, please, guys. John Smith is the Poet Laureate of Louisiana. He has published 4 collections of poetry: Muhammad's Mountain, Spirit of Gods, Soul Be a Witness, and the Mandala of Hands. His 5th collection, Our Shut Eyes, New and Selected Poems on Race in America, is forthcoming from Madhouse Press. Thank you.
Thank you. As I sometimes do, I appreciate everyone being here this afternoon, by the way. As I sometimes do, I change poems at the last minute. I don't know why I do that, but a good friend of mine, Barry Berthelot, sitting back there, and I gave him this book of a copy of Muhammad's Mountain, so I thought I'd read a poem for Barry. And it's, so I'm only going to read 2 because this one's kind of long. It's the only poem in the collection in which I try to speak in the voice of Ali. It's hard to do that. But it sort of tells a little bit about Muhammad's story. And the title is The Negro Athlete and the Racial Mountain. Now, for you young folks sitting out there, this title was taken from an essay written by Langston Hughes. I think it was maybe 1926, The Negro Artist and the Racial Mountain. So here we go. The Negro Athlete and the Racial Mountain. I ain't no Langston Hughes. I'm a boxer. And I ain't saying these so-called Negro athletes who don't respect my beliefs want to be white, but they sure sound white when they say I'm wrong for being Muslim, wrong for doing away with my slave name, and wrong for refusing to go 10,000 miles to kill innocent brown people for America, when America won't even fight for me and my people right here at home. Jackie Robinson, Floyd Patterson, Ernie Terrell, Joe Louis, they're the white man's champions. I'm the champion of the people, the ones down in Parkland and Southside Chicago and Harlem, the ones who can't even afford a ticket or television to see my fight. I don't live and fight for the white man's acceptance. I'm free to be whoever I want to be because Allah gives me the courage, strength, and wisdom to beat anybody who stands between me and the championship of the world. As far as Patterson and Terrell are concerned, I took my time to punish both of them because they wouldn't call me by my name. And they should have known better. If they was white, I would have had compassion and ended both fights sooner. But as so-called Negroes, they should have shown respect for a black man who was fighting for justice and equality. So I had to punish both of them. In fact, if Joe Louis wasn't so old and could climb back into the ring, I'd whip him just as bad. I ain't saying all black athletes is Uncle Toms. Some of the top athletes in the world, Jim Brown, Bill Russell, Lou Alcindor, they support my stand against the war. These are what I call real champions, not them so-called Negroes who try to sound white or duck, hide, and keep their mouths shut in order not to offend the white man. Ain't no fighter greater than me. White folks didn't make me who I am. To the contrary, they're trying to destroy me inside and outside the ring. Took my title, won't let me fight, broke my bank account, trying to lock me up and destroy me just because I don't believe in war and refuse to fight them Viet Cong. But I'm walking to the beat of my own drum, not the white man's music. I'm black and pretty and the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. I don't fight and live to please white people or to be like them. I'm on top of the mountain. Praise be to Allah. And I got here by being true to who I am, a black man and a Muslim. Thank you. Thank you. Couldn't quite do it the way Ali would have done it, but I don't think anybody could have. He was such a special human being, and we were blessed to have him with us as a fighter and as a champion for world peace. So, last poem is titled Sisters. So this poem is in two parts. I apologize because it's kind of long too, but bear with me. The first part is just one long sentence. And when I finish that, you'll know that I'm almost there, okay? Sisters. Oh, by the way, I want to say for this latest collection, I started really playing with the hand fan motif a little bit, so I've got a few poems in this collection inspired by hand fans, and this is one of them. Sisters, 1. I've known you for many years, long before I first searched your eyes in a black and white photograph of you on a tattered hand fan of an Alabama funeral parlor. 2 pigtailed, plaited black girls sitting side by side, staring into a Kodak camera, pulling me inside your likeness to my own daughters. The morning they stood holding hands at the bus stop on the first day of preschool, their futures stretching before them in a pathless wooded sky, filled with tangled vines and boughs that I had failed to cut away in those years when I stood sure-footed and shalom, but lived as a faceless name, cast away on a sea with no way to cross over to my own sisters, children of my father, a man I never called daddy, whose daughters met me, their oldest sibling, for the first time the day their father was buried. And you make me think of those mornings before the cab horn blew to take my grandmother across town to cook, iron, and clean for white people. When I'd watch her steel hands pull a brush through the tangled hairs of her 2 daughters, my mother's little sisters, greasing the strands with Dixie Peach hairdressing and twisting the locks around a hot curling iron. Then years later, I'd watch the girls fall in and out of love with men whose only passions were fire and ice. 2, sisters. Your wings didn't break in the unholy water and swirling winds of long, harrowing nights. You didn't bend when raging streams swelled your banks and unmade your sweet bed. You were the bow-tied ribbon and ragdoll pulled from the rubbish of a bombed Birmingham church. You were the flowers budding when they lowered those 4 little black girls into the ground. Did you come awake? Did you rise up out of the deep, dark pits that only God could have filled in some men? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. David Henry.
This is David, because he had the most supporters. Most supporters.
So I have to give it to him?
Yeah, you can make an announcement, but when you can get his attention. Or maybe when he's done. The most supporters, most people donated to him. Yeah.
Yes. David Henry attends St. John Berchman Catholic School in Grand Coteau. He's 12 years old, and his hobbies include basketball, football, soccer, gaming, and reading. So we're glad that we have you here with us today.
This is a slide. It's called Proud of My Heritage. For those of you who don't know, I am half African American and half Mexican on my mom's side. So I just decided to make a slide that will represent both sides of my culture. First, we have a Mexican poet. His name was Octavio Paz. He was awarded the 1981 Miguel de Cervantes Prize, the 1982 Neustadt Prize for Literature, and the 1990 Nobel Prize for Literature. He was born March 31st, 1914, and passed away April 19, 1998. He attended the University of California, Berkeley, National Autonomous University of Mexico, and Colegio Williams Ajusco. Huey Newton, a Louisiana native born in Monroe. He was the co-founder of the Black Panthers. One of my favorite quotes: "My fear was not of death itself, but a death without meaning." He had a PhD in social philosophy. He worked with other civil rights activists such as Bobby Seale, and he was unfortunately assassinated in 1989 at the age of 47. Fernando Valenzuela. How many of you in here are baseball fans? He was a Mexican baseball player who played for the Dodgers. He started his baseball career in Mexico, such as Los Mayos de Navajo, Guanajuato Tuzos, y Los Leones de Yucatán. He threw 2,074 strikeouts in, I believe, 17 seasons. Maya Angelou. She was a poet born April 4th, 1928. She was inspired by another poet, African poet named Phyllis Wheatley. One of my favorite quotes by Maya Angelou: "Nothing will work unless you do." She passed away May 28th, 2014. And my sister is actually here to present one of Maya Angelou's poems.
This poem is called Alone. lying, thinking last night how to find my soul a home where water is not thirsty and bread loaf is not stone. I came up with one thing, and I don't believe I'm wrong, that nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. Alone, all alone. Nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. There are some millionaires with money they can't use. Their wives run around like banshees, their children sing the blues. They've got expensive doctors to cure their hearts of stones, but nobody, no, nobody can make it out here alone. Alone, all alone. Nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. Now if you listen closely, I'll tell you what I know. Storm clouds are gathering, the wind is gonna blow. The race of man is suffering, and I can hear the moan. 'Cause nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. Nobody but nobody can make it out here alone.
Next, we have the Aztecs. A lot of you may be thinking, this is something about different people, not groups in specific. Well, the Aztecs were an ancient empire that were founded in northern Mexico. I chose them because they created things that we use nearly every day here. First thing, chiles. That was found by the Aztecs. Popcorn was also by the Aztecs. And my favorite thing, I would call this the greatest accident in the history of the world, chocolate. They were actually trying to make beer from the cocoa plant, and instead of making beer, they made chocolate. So for that, I'm grateful. Next, Dr. Patricia Bath. She invented the device for laser cataract surgery. She was the first African-American person to serve as a resident in ophthalmology at New York University. First African-American woman to serve on staff as surgeon at the UCLA Medic, and she was the first woman to lead a postgraduate training program in ophthalmology. Next is Roberto Gomez Bolaños. I grew up with the Mexican mom, so I would often watch all kind of Spanish shows. And this man is responsible for my favorite show out of everything I've watched. He was an actor. He was also a screenwriter, comedian, film director, television director, playwright, singer, songwriter, and author. And in Mexico, he's regarded as one of the most important Latino humorists of all time. Last, I have Dr. Vivian Thomas. He developed a procedure that saved countless lives. He was born in New Iberia, and he was paid as a janitor even though he was doing most of the surgeries. He helped an important doctor named Alfred Blaylock with many surgeries. Blaylock felt bad for Thomas because Thomas was just getting paid as a janitor. So he hired Blaylock as a bartender. And this is what he helped save. He helped create a surgery that saved countless of babies from dying. It's called blue baby syndrome. When there's a problem with the heart, you know how the heart carries blood and oxygen throughout the body. So when there's a problem with the heart, the blood has less oxygen, and that causes the baby's skin to appear blue, and it will kill them. He developed a procedure that would actually save them. And last, Guillermo González Camarena. He was an inventor, was 17 when he received a patent application. He introduced colored television to all of the world. And he was born February 17th, 1917, and he died April 18th, 1965. Okay, Bessie Coleman. She was the first licensed black pilot, inspired other Negro flyers. She received her license in France, went to Oklahoma Colored Agricultural and Normal University, moved to Chicago, where she became a manicurist with her brother, and she unfortunately died at age 34 in a plane accident. That's it.
Yeah, I want just to mention that David Henry, thank you very much. He has received many support for many people. So the World Crawl Festival has decided to give him a gift. And this is your gift. What's coffee? Oh. It's a gift from Parish Inc. Yeah, Parish Inc. So, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. So hopefully next year we will have more kids here telling their stories, telling us their poems, or just come here chant for all of us. So we encourage parents, to register there and so that their children can come here and perform for the audience. Now, Michele Cramer. Michele Cramer is an assistant professor in the College of Education at UL Lafayette and a former high school English teacher. She's involved with the Acadiana writing project and is interested in writing and the research. Oh, thank you.
So, hello, my name is Michele Cramer, and I have been involved with the Acadiana Writing Project since I was a teacher in Lafayette Parish Schools. And so the first piece that I'm going to be reading today is actually an old piece that I wrote in my first summer intercession with the Writing Project, and I call it Chilly Surprise. The van from the airport struggled up the side of the mountain, huffing and puffing like the little engine that could, as we traveled from the Denver airport to the small ski resort of Copper Mountain, Colorado. As we continued on, slowly trudging toward our destination, flecks of white snow fell with increasing urgency from the dreary gray sky. My mom looked and sounded like a little kid experiencing their first trip to Disney World. Everything amazed her: the snow, the mountainside, and the trees. My dad was being nostalgic and retelling stories about his former ski days, even though he hadn't been skiing during my lifetime that I knew of. Despite our parents' excitement, my brother and I were less than thrilled. We had been informed by our parents that the condo we would be staying in for the next six nights only had one bedroom. Therefore, my younger brother and I would be sharing a fold-out sofa for the duration of our trip. As a 15-year-old, being separated from your friends for a week is disappointing. Having to share a fold-out sleeper sofa with your 13-year-old brother is a tragedy. That night, after considerable complaining from me and silent brooding from my brother, my family made the way to a nearby restaurant. Being inside the warm restaurant and laughing about my dad's former ski adventures helped to improve our moods. Although the homestyle menu of stews and soups didn't appeal to my tastes, I ordered a bowl of chili that the menu claimed to be a customer favorite. When the chili arrived, it was scalding hot and delicious, filled with ground meat and pinto beans, and served with 2 handfuls of saltine crackers. I ate every last bit and was feeling quite content by the time we arrived back at our condo. Even though we were in better moods, that night when it was time for bed, as my parents proclaimed at 10:30 p.m., my brother and I were even more annoyed with our sleeping arrangement. The mattress on the fold-out sofa was a bit lumpy and I couldn't get comfortable. Garrett fell asleep in under 3 minutes and was already snoring. This made me even more annoyed, and so I angrily kicked his foot away, even though it wasn't on my side of the bed, as I claimed it was when he woke up yelling at me. After that, I lay in bed looking at the ceiling, exhausted and frustrated that I was tired but could not fall asleep. Eventually, at some point in the night, I drifted off into a strange half-state of sleep. Around 2 in the morning, I bolted straight up from the bed. Uh-oh, I thought, as I clumsily hurtled over Garrett. As I stomped on his leg in my disoriented attempt to pass over him, he yelled at me, no doubt thinking I was intentionally kicking him again. I ignored him as I ran to the single bathroom in the condo, cursing my earlier decision to eat chili. For a moment, I thought, I'm gonna make it. But as soon as the thought entered my brain, it happened. I projectile vomited all over the bathroom of our Colorado condo. My mom, who would wake in the night if she thought she heard one of us coughing, immediately appeared in the bathroom to see what was happening. Chunky red throw-up clung to the shower curtain and dripped slowly down the bathroom walls, causing the whole room to smell of regurgitated meat. And there I was, having slipped and fallen in my own vomit, the part that landed on the floor, not the walls, lying immobile on the bathroom floor. I was shocked and unsure if I was going to cry or scream about the chunks in my hair and on my pajamas, or whether I was going to just keep throwing up until my insides were raw. After a shower, 2 thorough hair washings, my mom scrubbing the bathroom, and one more bout of puking, this time in the toilet, thankfully, I finally fell back asleep around 4 in the morning. Despite what I now refer to as the chilly incident, the next day was scheduled to be our first day skiing, and there was no deterring my parents' quest to go out and ski. So just 4 short hours later, I found myself at the top of Copper Mountain in an ironically Pepto-Bismol pink ski jacket, being told to pizza with my skis if I wanted to stop. Please don't mention food, I thought, as we began our descent down the mountain. My next piece is actually an ode to 2 things that I really love. An ode to coffee and Candy Crush. At times bitter, at times sweet, when I am tired, you help to keep me awake. An ode to coffee, who has been in my life since I was a small child, who started out as coffee milk, but transformed along the way. Mocha sippies, flavored lattes, and a plain old cup of coffee, all while withstanding the test of time. At times bitter, at times sweet, when I am tired, you help to keep me awake. An ode to Candy Crush. A newer addition in my life. With the invention of smartphones, I've dabbled with Words with Friends, Sudoku, and other games I can no longer name. But like coffee, you too have withstood the test of time. I've downloaded you, deleted you, and downloaded you again. An ode to coffee and to Candy Crush. Both energizing. Both part of my daily routine. I don't know if I can quit you, but frankly, I'm not trying to. And I just have one more piece, and this is actually untitled, but this, as part of my introduction, I am a new assistant professor in the College of Education, and I'm so excited to be back. I'm a Louisiana native, a Lafayette native, and a 2-time Raging Cajun grad, so I'm really excited to be back at UL in the College of Education, working with an amazing group of people, and so I wrote a piece about that. And so this is actually for Dr. Edie Myers, who is a longtime professor in the College of Education. I struggle to find the right words and string them together in the right order to create the right line to say all the things I'd like to say to you and about you. But I know I want to say thank you. Thank you for always believing in me. Thank you for the first time you believed in me 9 years ago when you met me. You gave me the courage and the confidence to teach that my undergraduate self had previously lacked. Thank you for saying yes 4 years later when I sent you an email and asked you a favor. Would you be on my committee? I don't know if you realize the impact you had on me, but I hadn't forgotten all I had learned from you and how you had believed in me. Thank you for the kind things you said to me the last time I saw you. I remember being surprised to see you, but so glad. It reminded me of how wonderful this place and its people are. Thank you for believing in me. I was going through my new office and found handwritten notes from you. My old memories flooded back, even as I flipped through the giant stack of papers of past students I didn't even know. I heard your voice when I went to change my voicemail the other day. You sounded just as I remember. It was so nice to hear you, but I know a voicemail is not where I'll find you. I will find you in the unexpected moments. The moments when I open an old file of yours as I plan my next lesson, or remember completing an activity for your class, or walk through campus thinking how happy I am to be here. I will find you in moments when I'm feeling worried or excited, and I will look to you for guidance, and also say thank you for believing in me. I recently found my portfolio that I made for your class. It was in the closet at my parents' house, the only thing left from my undergraduate years. I opened up the front cover and there was your writing. I smiled and thought of you. Now it sits in my office, a daily reminder. Thank you for believing in me, always.
Thank you very much. Hold on one second, please. Hold on one second. Professor Michele Cramer raised more sponsorship money, so we want to thank her so much for this. We want to give her a gift. The World Crawl Festival gave her a gift. Okay. It is from Black Coffee.
Oh.
Correct?
Black Cafe.
A Black Cafe. I'll say in French. Okay. A Black Cafe. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Now I'm calling for Lise Burke. Lise Burke lives part-time in Brewbridge, LA, and part-time in New York. She has 3 publications: Learning to Love, LA, La Purchase. Her work has been published in various journals, including Southern Poetry Anthology and Louisiana Literature. Her latest book, Duet Poet Photography, can be purchased here. We have several copies. Thank you.
We had lunch last Sunday at our favorite Chinese buffet. And here's what I found in my fortune cookie. At the touch of love, everyone becomes a poet. And that's exactly what happened to me, that and coming to Louisiana. So that prompted another poem on the subject, and this poem is so new that it doesn't even have a title, but I'm open to suggestions. When I first saw my current husband, he was sitting at the bar at the Willow Inn, a restaurant in the Tony suburban town where I had lived for over 20 years, where my life had fallen into a hole from which it had yet to emerge. In my youth, I had lived in Paris, Rome, traveled to Andalusia, Egypt, Indonesia, a hitchhiker all over the planet on my way to the moon. But then I married, had a child, and settled down like a lump of coal at the bottom of a Christmas stocking hanging by the chimney. Being Jewish, we never hung stockings for Christmas, although my parents put up a tree every year to celebrate the holidays for us kids. We didn't have a chimney either. For Christmas one year, I got a doll I named Mary Ellen. I later sold her to my sister for $1.37. It was all the money she had saved from her allowance. Mom said I was cold, heartless. I sold the doll I said I loved and bankrupted my baby sister. It's how she thought of me from that time on. Eventually, that's how I saw myself. Becoming a psychologist was born of the desire to hear stories from normal people about how they lived their lives. One of my patients confessed that when anybody made her angry or got in her way, she wished them dead. No interest in working it out. She just wanted them to disappear. Wasn't she a horrible person? She asked. Well, no, I said, since I sort of related to the idea, although I didn't mention that part to the patient. I simply said, it's only an impulsive, childish reaction. Let's consider more mature, productive solutions to your interpersonal issues. I said to her, and to myself, now engaging in magical thinking, that if you wish someone harm, it will come true, if only. Would that be a blessing or a curse? And speaking of that, when I first saw that intriguing man, who later became my husband, sitting at the bar, silver ponytail, broad shoulders, hands wide as a catcher's mitt, he immediately struck me as trouble. And boy, was I ready for some of that. Having spent the last few years confined in this fancy suburb, I had become a dowdy puppet carved out of cheese, grown moldy, old, and uninteresting. Now, sprung from jail by my recent divorce, I needed spicy mustard, hot Tabasco sauce to wake me up, make me more tasty to others and to myself. So you know that song, first comes love, then comes marriage? Here's a psychologist's view of that state of affairs. I call this poem Repetition Compulsion. It doesn't matter who you marry. One morning you wake up, and there's your father sitting at the breakfast table, scowling as he spreads blackberry jam on a slice of toast, or standing at the stove stirring oatmeal and pointing out the untidy stack of papers on the dining room table, the lights you left on in the kitchen overnight. Your eyes water. You barely recognize the fragile creature you've become. So you leave your father for another mate. Discover now it's your mother you've wed. And it's you who complains about dirty socks by the side of the bed, newspapers strewn on the living room floor. You who are angry and overbearing, while your partner wears the sign saying, victim. You hate the carping creature you've become. Decide it's time to try again, while the chorus of ghosts in your head cackle, shutting out all other melodies. And I think this will be my last one. Since I mentioned Louisiana as a source of my poetic inspiration, here's a meditation on Louisiana. Turtles move at the reported pace of turtles. Come see, my husband says, handing me binoculars. He's watching a turtle climb up the ramp of a wooden turtle trap. Usually it's herons, ducks, cottonmouths, creatures that fly or slither away before I can focus. But this time, no rush. I adjust. A shell comes into focus. A neck stretches. A pea-sized head slowly cranes left to right. One stunted bowleg at a time moves up the ramp, flails, finds its footing, and moves back, then forward again. A dance. Below, 5 turtles already trapped claw at wooden walls, tumble over one another, trying to climb out. Like the turtle in the Balinese creation myth, this one too seems to carry the weight of the world on its back. I pity these shell dwellers, but my husband says they disturb the pond ecology. He built the trap to bring them to the bayou, where they'll live undisturbed. An hour slides by. The sun wanes. I'm tired and hungry, but I can't look away for fear of missing the climatic moment. The turtle reaches the top. The boards tilt open. The tumble into the trap. And my friends up north wonder what I do down here for entertainment. Without museums, Broadway shows, and galleries I left behind.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Brad Chavez. Brad is a student at Saint Landry Parish, I think. He's also an amazing singer.
Second to set up so you can thank the Science Museum and Mr. Paul for all the help. The Science Museum and Mr. Paul.
So we would like to thank the Science Museum and Mr. Paul for giving us this amazing space venue to read poetry and to listen to some amazing writers. Thank you very much.
Okay, hi. The first song I'll be singing is an Adele song called Don't You Remember. It's a very, I love the song so much. I just learned it over the past week. So I hope you guys enjoy. When will I see you again? You left with no goodbyes, not a single word was said. No final kiss to seal any sin. I I had no idea of the state we were in. But I know I have a fickle heart and bitterness and wondering how your heaviness in my head. But don't you remember? Don't you remember the reason you love me before? Baby, please remember me once more. When was the last time you thought of me? Or have you completely erased me from your memories? I often think about where I went wrong. The more I do, the less I know. But I know I have a fickle heart and bitterness and wondering how your heaviness in my head. But don't you remember? Don't you remember the reason you left me before? Baby, please remember me once more. Gave you space so you can breathe. I kept my distance so you would be free, and hope that you got the missing me to bring you back to me. Why don't you remember? Don't you remember the reason you left me before? Baby, please remember me once more. When will I see you again?
Another song. Okay. Applaud him, please.
Okay, this song is called, have you ever watched the movie The Greatest Showman? This song I'm singing is from that movie called Never Enough. It's called Never Enough. I'll be singing that song. And that's a very motivational song for some people who have like lack of confidence and everything. This song can like motivate you a lot. Can you start it over, please? I'm trying to hold my breath, let it stay this way. Can't let this moment end. You set off a dream in me, getting louder now. Can you hear share this with me. 'Cause darling, without you, all the shine of 1,000 spotlights, all the stars we steal from the night sky will never be enough, never be enough. Towers of gold are still too little. These hands could hold the world, but it'll never be enough, never be enough. Never, 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 never for me, for me. Never enough, never enough, never enough for me, for me, for me. The shine of 1,000 spotlights, all the stars we steal from the night sky will never be enough, never be enough. Towers of gold are still too little. These hands can hold the world, but it'll never be enough, never be enough. Never, 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 never for me, for me. Never enough, never enough, never enough for me, for me, for me. For me.
Good job. Thank you. I think it's all. I would like to thank all the participants and hoping next year we'll see more students involved here. So thank you very much. Thank you.